Good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning, or wherever you are, whenever you are, time of day. Um, Today we're going to talk about breath, and we are going to, well, I give it a very loose title like Aspects of Breath, which is pretty much saying nothing and everything at the same time, which is kind of what I wanted. I would like to go through the reasons why I consider the breath to be my very good teacher. When I first started meditating, I was in my 20s, and before I sat down on my meditation cushion, I don't think I had ever considered my breath except for maybe when I was out of breath, when I was lacking breath. The first time that I sat down and I was asked to study my breath, I was almost intimidated by how incredibly intimate it felt to be at one with my life source, with the way I was breathing, with the way the breath was making me feel. But I realized that it is a very good teacher because it tells you uh, kind of a truth of how you are really feeling about things. The breath has this quality that it can kind of read and translate your mood or your response, your reaction to phenomena, to events, to experience. You all know when you're feeling anxious or when you're feeling stressed out, when you're having a conflict, how that breath feels. Especially if you started meditating and you've started anchoring your mind in breath in those situations. When you are stressed, the breath feels stressed. So it kind of reads you. Similarly, when you're in a good place, when you're in a calm place, when you feel in holiday, vacay mode, then the breath will translate that as well, and breathing will feel easier, maybe deeper, more relaxed. So the breath tells a lot of how we are feeling or how we are experiencing our life. And this is a very good gateway for us yogis to get to that place where we start to discover who we are, who we really are. Not who we think we are or who we should be, but what's really going on the inside, how we're really feeling. Then as I started doing yoga, which happened after I had sat down on a meditation cushion for the first time, I realized the incredible creative potential of my breath. How when I stretched it open and when I started manipulating it through pranayama and through breathing in postures, how powerful it was to act as a mood changer. I got in touch with that creative aspect of breathing. And for me, that tied very much into a kind of philosophy of yoga, this sort of union, you with the creator. And I think I read it more like you as a human being, as a human spirit, you are not just a creation, but you're also very much a part of being a creator. And this is something that fell back into my breathing practice. I realized that when I stretched the breath open, when I calmed the breath down, when I gave a tone, a quality to the breathing that felt caring, that felt kind, then it completely changed the way that I was experiencing phenomena, events. I also realized that I could take that breath outside of the mat, outside of this formal way of practice, and into life where there's plenty of conflict, stress, and other vicissitudes that you can practice creation through breathing in. So today I thought we're going to first witness the breath. Witness how we're feeling, getting really intimately in touch with that breathing without trying to change it, without trying to perfect it, without trying to modify it in any way, but just let it tell us what is going on, where we carry tension, how we react to a thought, how we react to pain in the body as we're sitting. And then we'll do a little bit of creative breathing. I don't like doing difficult, challenging, or very deep pranayama sessions in these online classes. It feels like that is something that should be reserved for when I can be with you in the breath. So the modifications I do to the breathing are, I think at least, I hope, quite gentle. And similarly today, when we stretch out our breathing, and I'll give you some very light, very simple pranayama exercises. Um, Instead of thinking of how to perfect the exercise in itself, see if you can get to that place where you notice how that way of breathing makes you feel, how it changes the quality of your experience. So you understand the effect, the karma that the breath has with you. Hope that sounds good. All right. We will start by just witnessing the breath with meditation, with cultivating awareness, and maybe a bit of equanimity as well. That's all. For your meditation, be very mindful of how you place yourself, and please be comfortable, as comfortable that it almost feels like you're not doing anything. It should be that good. Hips relaxed, spine effortlessly lengthening, and most importantly, that the belly can relax. And the belly has much to do with the diaphragm, and the diaphragm has much to do with your breathing, as you know. So to make the situation kind from the get-go, to create a comfortable seat for you to practice awareness in, be kind when you set yourself up. Loose hips, relating to gravity with the weight of your legs and the weight of your pelvis. Feeling that effortless lengthening of the spine and that gentle ability to soften in the belly. Close your eyes. Notice the breath. Find a part of your body where it feels easier to feel the breath. Eventually, I will ask you to develop breath awareness around the diaphragm in your abdomen. But for now, if you want to do it below your nostril, above your upper lip, Anapana style, or in the chest, in the lung space, wherever it feels easy. Now you want to pay such close attention to your breath that you can really discern the details of that breathing. Don't try to change anything about the breath. See if you can stay with simply observing it, paying it close attention. Without judging and without searching for a very concrete answer, ask yourself how your breath is feeling. How are you breathing? And of course, bear in mind but that will always change. This particular aspect of breath practice, simply witnessing it, it also trains your capacity for sustained awareness. It also tries your stubbornness, your willfulness, your discipline. Mind will make little escape routes, drift off. When you catch yourself, see if you can bring it back and see if you can sustain awareness for a little bit longer. And when you fall out, when you escape, don't judge, don't traumatize. The simple action of just bringing it back. Over and over and over. All right. Let's make a little transition, a little bridge, and we're going to start working more creatively with the breath. Now, those of you that have practiced with me before, you know that I very often favor the Ujjayi breathing, simply because I find that it's an easy, useful way for me to dive into the possibilities, the potential of the breath. You can, of course, do this without Ujjayi as well. Then it relies more, it hangs more on your ability to work your diaphragm. This means the diaphragm has to relax. It has to with Ujjayi as well, but Ujjayi has a bit more energy behind it, so it almost speeds up this relaxation, as crazy and conflictive that this may sound. All right, so from where you are, you're going to start stretching the breath by relaxing the diaphragm. And then let the inhale go a little deeper. Now you want to notice the breath. You want to feel the spread of that breath in your abdomen, around your rib cage, around your diaphragm. Keep it a little bit below the chest. It's more restful, more relaxing. If you want to use your Ujjayi, you use that little narrowing at the base of the throat to kind of temper your diaphragm. You bring it more energy, you draw it towards that expansion, with a little bit more force. It's like you're speaking a little louder to it. As you are breathing, notice how it shifts the feeling in the body, how it shifts the feeling of your experience. Another aspect of that stretched out, more creative breath is the quality of it, the way that it feels inside, for lack of a better one. The intention with which you bridge from mind to body. You want that bridge to be kind. You want that intention to feel unconditionally caring and friendly. How does that feel? Well, that's up to you and your creativity. How do you create a breath that feels like a wave of care in your body? How do you create a breath that soothes your mind and your nerves almost like a lullaby? In terms of the technical aspect, one thing that helps that is to really round off the edges of your breathing. So there's no spike, there's no sense of aggressivity at the end, wanting to hunger for just a little bit more. Equally at the bottom after the exhale, to not stay too long, to not get too ambitious about following the thread of the exhale until you feel like you have to gulp for more air, but to round off those transitions so they feel calming, so they feel soothing, so they feel kind. Now we're going to try out these two aspects of watching our breath, of working with our breath in the context of asana. We'll go for some yin-like postures, holding them for a little bit longer so we can experiment with the different modalities of breathing and through a little longer period of time, see how that makes us feel. Let's go into a sort of Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose, like so. Today I'm not going to give you any pointers about the posture. Just make sure that you, before you dive a little deeper down into the posture, that you feel relatively comfortable sitting up. And with relatively comfortable, I mainly mean that you can relax around your diaphragm and your abdomen. That the posture doesn't cramp your hips so much you feel you have to hold your belly and hold your lower back. Then, of course, you take a blanket, you take a pillow, you build yourself up. And then we dive in. Take the posture all the way to a place where you feel like you're being slightly challenged in terms of sensations. You'll feel it's almost like a red light or a stop sign inside. The body starts tensing up a little bit, and that's a good place to stop. Now, the first thing we do is we let go of that creative breath. And we study the breath as it is, as we do in meditation. Now the posture will give a lot of information to your nervous system, to your mind. If it feels painful, well, then that pain is going to want to express a reaction in your body, a reaction in your breath. Just watch this flow of events inside. As you go a little deeper, you trigger a little bit more. What happens to the breath? Without modifying that breathing, what happens to it? How does it shift? Now, one thing that can influence that breath without you having to have to work creatively with it is the relaxation of the body. Now, if breath follows the mood of the experience from your mind, how mind perceives it, relaxation is a far more pleasant experience for mind than tension, than holding, than defense. So by simply working actively with gravity to relax the body, you will read a slight change in your breathing. Maybe the relaxation of your shoulders, of your neck and your jaw, it's contagious, that diaphragm slightly. And when the diaphragm gets contagious, maybe it starts relaxing, softening, and then breathing comes with more ease, even though you haven't done a creative effort with the breath itself. And now from here, start making that bridge towards a more creative breath. Let it slowly deepen, let it spread out, let it widen in your body. Feel how it opens in the rib cage, how it pushes down towards the lower abdomen, towards the lower back. Now, if you're using Ujjayi, it will give a real push to that diaphragm, and it acts almost like a massage, that diaphragmatic movement. Even if you don't work with Ujjayi, that relaxation of the diaphragm is essential for the deepening of the breath. I always talk about the breath as being the teacher carrying two invitations. I feel like the invite from the inhale is one to energize, to open, to create space, to give a bit of courage to my tissues, to my body. And the exhale, it relates very much to gravity and to that act of almost surrendering, allowing for relaxation to set in, softening, especially those areas where you usually hold, shoulders, neck, jaw, blah, blah, blah. Notice how that creative breath sits within the context of your practice, how it talks to your experience. I very often find that manipulation, that creativity or control over the breath I kind of think that it satisfies the doer in me. Um, Instead of creating tension or hardening around it, I feel like I'm proactively managing my situation in the kindest, most intelligent way that I have found. All right, now we've spent some time here. Let's slowly shift out. And then let's try these two different aspects of breathing in another posture. We're gonna do this bolster or blanket or pillow in the rib cage below your shoulder blades for a little chest opener, shoulder opener. You're of course welcome to also incorporate the hips by moving the soles of the feet together, whatever you feel like. As you drop down, let your breath come back to natural. This is another triggering position, and it triggers almost exactly where is that source, the heart of the breath, the diaphragm. If you carry tension in the diaphragm, or if opening this way makes you feel slightly triggered, like you want to protect yourself, then you will experience that in the breath. Don't change it, just watch it. So watching or observing your breath pattern as you encounter different situations that make you feel different things, once again, is a great way to be practicing honesty with yourself. To not try to be better than you are, but to really get to know and acknowledge your habit patterns. All those years of habits, of training in a particular way, has made you respond to pain, to difficulties, to nervosity. And just like we did in the butterfly posture, now let's see what happens if we, instead of affecting the breath, affect the body, how that resonates in the breathing. Give in to relaxation. Now you have the ground, you have gravity to support you. So drop the weight of your skull. Separate the back of the teeth and let your jaw relax. Feel the weight of the shoulders and the shoulder blades sinking down, spreading out. The weight of the arms giving in. And although it feels maybe tender or difficult in the diaphragm area, in the solar plexus area, see what happens when you give in to the pull of gravity with the weight of the rib cage in the back, and you allow yourself to settle on your blanket or on your bolster or on your pillow. How does that affect the breath? And how does that in turn affect your experience? These positions that we take in our yoga practice, for me, they are just another experience in a way, another situation. A situation that brings it very close to home, brings it into the body. The positions affect you in certain ways, highlighting your history, your structure, your psychology. And then I watch how I respond, how my body responds, how my nervous system responds, how my autopilot responds. And I get to know my patterns. I get to feel the weight of history inside. And then when I start working with the breath to create a very kind environment within the context of the situation, like you're gonna do now, and then I like to see how karma is displayed right then and there. The law of cause and effect, of action and consequence. What happens when the breath becomes a little bigger and you start deepening it, almost like a teacher that comes close, puts his hand on your belly, saying, there, calm down. That's how the breath wants to feel inside, especially as it moves towards those areas where you feel the trigger, where you feel the weight of history, where it hurts. When I have worked with my breath for some time in my position, in my situation, I can feel how it completely changes, shifts my perception of the experience, my perception of the situation, how it teaches me to relax even though there may be pain involved, to relax even though there may be that little restlessness slash anxiety slash nervosity, insecurity that inevitably comes up. Remember the invitation from the breath, the call from gravity, the suggestion to expand, to widen, to open, to energize. Okay, from your position, once again, come up sitting. Let's do one more aspect of breath that I work with. We're going to work with rhythm. Now the breath, because we have this creative demand over it, we can also formulate it however we want. And for me, especially when there's something very difficult happening, or when there's a difficult posture in the practice, then I rely very much on this rhythm to calm down my nervous system. Now, this may be completely unique to me, that I find rhythm very calming, and maybe my background as a dancer, do I know? But I find rhythm having this almost, I wouldn't say hypnotic effect, but yeah, a little bit. It's once again that feeling of a lullaby that keeps the steadiness, the feeling of stability in my breath. So we come to that same comfortable posture, heavy, heavy hips, heavy, heavy legs, an upright spine that doesn't need for muscle to engage. Stay that way. Soft belly, open, relax diaphragm. With or without ujjayi, start widening, start deepening, start stretching out your breathing. Now I will guide you, will lead you through a rhythmical little pranayama exercise. In the beginning, we're just going to hold on to a very steady, calm rhythm. And then I will add a little, not retention, but a little hovering of the breath on top. And I will add a little resting of the breath at the bottom. If at any point you feel like this is too much and you would like to lay down instead, please do. This needs to feel comfortable. Wherever you are in your breath right now, exhale. Together we inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. 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 Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Now hold your breath here. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 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 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold it here. 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 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 2, 3, 4. Stay there. Let the breath slowly, slowly come back. Drop control over it. Stop manipulating it. But let the process be gradual. Once again, we're going to build a bridge, a soft, gentle transition. When you've given up control of your breath, go back to observe it. How does it feel? Let's take this rhythmical breath and bring it into another situation, just to give it a try. Another little asana. Let's go for a twist. Now the twists are interesting both working with observing the breath and creating breath, because they kind of feel like they strangle you at the center. They directly affect your diaphragm, and the feeling of the twist can be a little squeeze. So let's see. With your legs, find a position that suits you, that works for you. I like this position, but that is because my hips are quite generous. Then I bring myself into a little twist by placing the left hand. I bring my right hand all the way to my toe, but for you, you can just park it on the floor behind, supporting that uprightness of the spine. And once again, when you take the position, go to the place where you start to feel that slight turning from orange light to red light inside. There's a slight protest that comes up, and that's a good place to start your investigation. Now, we're not going to do anything to the breath right now. First, just observe how you're breathing naturally when faced with this position, with this situation, and all the sensation that it brings. Okay, now we're going to work with our breath within the same posture. When I bring in the rhythmical breathing to my practice, I consider it almost as bringing the big guns to the table. It is more for positions where I feel like I can easily lose the calm clarity of my mind, where there's a lot of pain or a feeling of deep challenge. Then that rhythm, it's bringing that creative breath, at least for me, kind of on steroids. Let's give it a try in this twist. See if you can go just a little bit deeper. Ujjayi or no Ujjayi, wherever you are in your breath, exhale. Together we inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. 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 Now continue by yourself. Find a rhythm that feels more suitable for your breath today. A little longer, a little tighter. But try to keep that sense of rhythm like a clock. That rhythm has a very generous, calming effect on your nervous system, on your mind. And as mind and nervous system is calmed down, it's easier to relax the body within the confinements of the posture. It's easier to work with clarity of mind if alignment is something that you're looking for in your posture. And then slowly let's change to the other side. Let's do the opposite on the other side. Let's start with the creative breath. That train is already rolling, so let's go for it. Find your posture, find your twist. Relaxed diaphragm, and wherever you are, exhale. Together we inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. 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 Keep going in your own rhythm, a little wider, a little tighter. That clockwork precision with a rhythm, which also gives another kind of focal point for the mind. And then let that creative breath go. Come back to natural breathing. Now we reverse the process. Before we went from natural climbing up to your spacious rhythm, and here we went from spacious rhythm more down to natural, which of course will affect a bit. Just keep investigating. What is the effect of what I'm doing? How does it sit with me? How does it modulate my experience? When you let the breath go, you release your control of it. How does it feel? How does your experience shift? Okay, let's slowly come back to center. And let's go to Savasana. Lay down, get comfortable, blankets, pillows, whatever you may need. Feet a little wider apart than your hips are wide, the arms alongside the body with the palms looking up. Heavy body, heavy bones sinking down, allowing the whole weight of the body to just spread out on the ground. How does this, a more comfortable of postures, how does that affect your breath? Here you might be surprised that sometimes just the fact that the posture invites for relaxation, your breath, even when you don't try to control it or create it, it's quite spacious, quite deep, comfortable. And if you give the body like a breath bath, you really bring in that teaching sense of the breath. You allow it to rinse out all the tension. Slowly, slowly open the body. Create space in it. Feel like a wave sweeping down your spine towards your hips, towards your legs. Feeling how that exhale really works with gravity. Notice how the feeling of care, as it is being diplomatically transported to your body from your mind through that breath, how that makes your experience feel. Now there's of course a lot of breathing techniques, pranayama techniques that you can dive into and really deepen your knowledge of the potential of your breathing. And like I mentioned before, I don't find that YouTube is the more conducive vehicle for such a teaching. So within this framework, we try to keep it very simple. I try to keep it very simple. But even within this simplicity of just viewing the breath as a truth teller of how you feel, as a little mirror on the inside, or working with the breath, getting in touch with that creative potential you have, and understanding how when you work with the breath in certain ways, in certain directions, or with rhythm, how that changes your experience. That within all its simplicity is very useful and maybe all that you need. To know that the breath will carry a reflection of how you feel about things, of your mind. To know that you can work with the breath and thus calm down that reactive tendency that we all have towards our vicissitudes, towards pain, towards suffering. Just knowing that the breath is, besides the little mirror for us, it is also potentially the inner teacher, our inner teacher. That is kind, unconditionally so. That is caring, especially for your aches, for your pains, for your suffering. And like I said, this is definitely not exclusive to your yoga mat practice or your meditation cushion practice. This breath you carry with you your whole life, all the time. So it's always there to show you what's going on, to reflect to you how you're feeling about things, regardless of the surface that you put up. And also as a friend, as a companion, as a teacher that can steer you into a clearer mind space, a kinder mind space, and relieve the body of some of that tension it otherwise creates. I hope you have time to stay in your Savasana for a bit longer. I will be back next time. We'll do the same little game with something that is even, or is a little bit trickier, I should say, which is Bandha. But for me, another important cornerstone of practice. Until then, breathe well, and I see you soon. Or you see me soon.